Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
This Salina Central team is dangerous offensively. They are one of the more explosive teams I've seen on film. Their little running back is quick. They got a quarterback that between the RPO and the read game and him running downhill creates some matchup problems. And I think it's a great matchup for us. I think our defense is excited for the challenge. Offensively, we got to make sure that we just value our possessions to give defense some time to adjust, coaching-wise and player-wise. And it's going to be a fun atmosphere.
I think depending on what defense they come out in is where we're going to shine. If they come out in zone, then our keys are going to be good, our outs and sticks. But then if they come and man us up, number 7 is going to have a great night.
Obviously, we're not in the same league. We haven't played them for a long time. Kind of try to follow the area schools and see how they're doing. But what an amazing year they're having. I'm sure they're excited. They should be. They've got a great football team. On film, you can tell they've got great community support, and they should. First-year head coach is doing a great job with them.
It's another game, another opportunity for us to kind of keep going on this journey where we want to go. And for it to be playing against where I'm from, of course, there's always a little thing in the back of that chip, a little bit larger on your shoulder because of some of the things that happened and just the way my recruiting process went. But you can never let that kind of fuel you. You got to go out there and play your own game for your guys.
Yeah, I would say it feels good to be pretty much wanted by a team, and I think the history probably go back way a little further than that, like extensive, probably like since the beginning, like before I even came into the league where they really wanted me here. But I feel like this is it's a great opportunity for everybody. I mean, fresh start for me, able to step into the AFC and show what I can do over here.
And the next pitch swung on and hit in the air to right center. This ball's tagged pretty well. And back at the wall, jumping and making the catch is Chaz McCormick. Up into the scoreboard in right center. He makes a remarkable leaping catch. And the kid from Westchester, Pennsylvania, just broke the hearts of tons of Philly fans with an extraordinary play.
And welcome to Sports Day. It's Friday. It's regional round for the high school football, and we're going to talk a lot of football today. We do have a little bit of soccer coming up as well. But good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into Sports Day. I'm Mike Hesher. Mike Corson is alongside, and the leader of the boat, I guess that would be the captain of the boat, wouldn't it?
Look at me, I'm the captain now.
Oh, okay. Then how come I'm over here driving the ship and you're over there? I guess that's what the captain would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to work.
I'm just the navigator or this. Okay. Mr. Webster was supposed to be with us today, but he decided he didn't want to work this afternoon, so he went home. He wasn't feeling well. We hope you feel better, Steve. We miss you. We were looking forward to having you in-house on a Friday, which you haven't been all fall, so that's the way it goes. Any comments there, Mr. Corson? You look awful. You're just ready to get to Salina. You're ready for that game tonight, aren't you? You got the Great Panther shirt on. You're ready to go. Okay, sounds of the past 24 hours. First, we started off with Aaron Beck. He is the football coach at Great Bend High School, and they were talking about how they were taking on the Salina Central Mustangs tonight. And let's see, they have their first win. They're seeking their first win over Salina Central in Salina since 1977.
What?
That is crazy.
I was going to say, I can't remember a time going up there because it seems it was always district play.
Right.
And Salina Central and South were always so good and always kept us out of the playoffs. But we had some decent years. It's hard to believe that.
Well, the year that Great Bend went to the state finals, when they had to go through Salina at one of the schools at one point?
Maybe because the districts did get changed. It was Hayes, Central, South all those years. And then at some point, Bueller maybe got in there, maybe McPherson. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that is a strange statistic.
Marvin Diener and Ken Stonebreaker in those wild Salina Central and South games. I went to shot video a couple times. Those were fun.
Tate Hancock was up there when I was in school, and the Newman that went to the Cowboys.
Oh, Terrence, yeah. That was some fun times. The only thing I didn't like was I had to walk about 16 miles to get to Salina Stadium because I was getting there late and everybody was there already.
I know they used to sell like 5,000 tickets when the two Salina schools would play, but still only one set of bathrooms, I believe.
Well, okay. Thank you. I did not know that. I hadn't put that into my memory.
When you're on the visitor side,
Okay.
Fun.
All right. Okay. And then we heard from the Panther tight end and linebacker Colton Brock, as he was on Sports Day yesterday as well. And he says that no matter what defense Salina Central throws at him, it'll be a good opportunity for the Panther quarterback, Caden Sharman.
And I think the offenses will excel tonight, but the one wild card that we really haven't seen all year is weather. It's going to be the coldest game. It's going to probably be wet. I think it's still a 90% chance to rain most of the game. Salina has a dual threat quarterback. What's that going to do to his passing side? To me, Great Bend struggled with the track kid from Garden City, Arriaga. Well, if this running back's fast, he's been piling up yards. It's a concern. But to me, the wet turf and the cold is going to be the wild card.
And just to keep everybody informed, they have moved up the game an hour. It will now start at 6 o'clock. It'll be 5:30 pregame with Patrick Burnett on 104.3 The Point. It's a 6 o'clock start, 5:30 for your pregame show. So keep that in your memory bank if you turn it on at 7 o'clock and the game's at halftime.
And hopefully it's over with a Great Bend win by then.
Okay.
We've had too many close ones. Let's get this done early.
I think that's good for Great Bend, though, in the long run, because it gives you confidence when you continue to. Nobody wants to get behind. Look at the Chiefs. They do the same thing every week. They get behind, and then they come back.
Even last week, the only concern I had was that they just couldn't stop them.
Right.
But so a 10-point game at halftime, like, it's a big hill. Lo and behold, they did it.
They made that defensive adjustment.
So, at this point, 2 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter. I'll still keep the flame burning, but let's not do it again.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's okay, Aaron Beck. You heard it from Mike Corson. Don't do it again. And then it was Colton Brock. And then we heard from Zach Baird as the Hoisington Cardinals will take on Russell. And if I recall right, this is the first winning season for Russell's, or first playoff win since 19. It's in there somewhere. First recorded winning season in 19 years, and I don't think they've won a playoff game since like 1979. Right here, it says right there.
A great first year coaching over there, but that's Hoisington in the playoffs.
Well, and it's, as I talked to Cole Rife just a little bit beforehand, Russell likes to throw the ball, and he's that quarterback has amazing stats. Wyatt Milton has passed for over 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns in high school. That's pretty good.
Is that this year?
That's this year, yes, sir.
Yeah, that might be problematic just maybe because Hoisington hasn't seen that before. Maybe they get the sides kid or the TMP kid who can throw. But last year I covered him, and Beloit threw it with some big receivers, and Hoisington shut him down. So
really?
It was a 7-6 game. So I think Hoisington's going to be way more physical, and I think that's going to be a big edge.
That game still starting at 7 o'clock. The forecast this morning had some possible snow showers. That will be interesting. Actually, Cole said, I'm hoping for more wind than rain, because wind will slow them down more than the rain will.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to be out in western Kansas, where I think they will snow. It's going to be 60, 70 degrees the next 2 days, but we finally got football weather, and I'll actually complain because it's been some lovely Friday nights out there.
I was going to say, you're going to have to be a little bit more bundled up tonight at Central Stadium.
The playoff games can get icky.
And I don't remember the name of the stadium, but the one in Pratt where I froze my butt off shooting for KSN one day. Oh, it was cold. Topeka, Hayden, and Pratt, long time ago.
In my little camera, you can't have gloves.
Oh, real? Oh, you wouldn't, could
Plus,
you?
your hand is just frozen the whole time, so it's like, remember to move your fingers.
I had gloves with holes in the fingers, so I got pretty good. That game starts at 7 o'clock at Elton Brown Field in Hoisington, and you can hear it on 100.7 Eagle Country. Action last night on Thursday here in the playoffs as some of the games were moved up. It was in Class 3A. No shocker here. Pratt lost to Andale 45-6.
Andale's a running team. I think I saw the kid's stats last night. He was 7 for 7 for like 218 and 3 touchdowns. So
wow.
Maybe Pratt had learned from the first game and said, we'll stack, and then Andale's like, oh, please do.
That's just I've been away for so long and then coming back, and Andale just dominates. Okay, other scores from 3A last night that they moved the games to Thursday. Rock Creek defeated Heston 21-11, and then Clay Center. Have we heard much about Clay Center? They defeated Wichita Collegiate 35-0, and Clay Center's 6-3. Who did they lose to?
Yeah, maybe they're maybe Holton's out there. I'm not sure.
That's an impressive 35 shutout win over Clay Center's over Wichita Collegiate. That's pretty good.
But those private schools like Colgan's running it in 1A. So now we got Collegiate out, and Mays gets Capon this weekend and maybe Bishop Carroll next weekend. Let's get some new blood at the top.
Well, yeah, that's okay. Then we heard from Deuce Vaughn as the K-State Wildcats are back in action tomorrow as they take on Texas that's coming to Manhattan. And Deuce Vaughn is one of the players at K-State that maybe could be possibly an All-American as he continues. And I will, okay, I'll have to tell you a little bit about my interview with Chet Kuplan. We talked about the stars of high school football, and after our discussion yesterday, Avery Johnson was top of his list.
I'm trying to whistle, but I can't do it. Yeah, and I just mentioned Mays because I think it's fantastic. I hate that they're in 5A because that's where Great Bend is, but yeah, I don't know if their games are televised like some of the other high schools are doing, but if you're bored this weekend, go back and watch some of his performances.
Really?
But yeah, for the Texas one, to me, I just get tired of seeing all the new uniforms. And I've said it before, these two particular schools, you know what you're going to get.
Yep.
And it's just going to be a classic-looking football game to relax to
traditional
Saturday night.
And you were traditional yesterday. You stay that way with the pitch clock in baseball, if I recall right. You weren't happy with Webby says you'll enjoy it, and you say no.
Yeah, and we had the discussion about semantics afterwards. He said that was going to make the biggest impact. I said, well, if it's biggest, it's one thing. And the pitch clock is going to be fairly arbitrary. It's going to cut. They're looking to cut time, but it's not going to change the impact of the game. Whereas that shift,
that's going to change. My opinion on that is, and I know people scoff at me, the only way you speed up the pace of play in baseball has to come from the umpires and the players. They're the only ones. They have to speed things up. They can't be stepping out and this is my grumpy old man. We have this segment called Get Off My Yard. That was going to be mine this week, but Webby took all the time. So,
well, what burns me is watching it because I watch most of mine on TV. You get a sharp hit up the middle, and you're like, yes, it's a hit. And there was somebody who didn't even have to move.
What did they tell you in Little League? Hit it right back up the middle.
Yeah.
Now you do that, you're out. As it will be K-State at 6-2, 4-1 in the Big 12. They will be playing the Longhorns, who are 3-2. A win, and Wildcats from Kansas State get one step closer to the Big 12 title game. Other action in the Big 12 this weekend. Texas Tech will be at number 7 TCU. That's an 11 o'clock start. And then we have Baylor at Oklahoma. West Virginia is at Iowa State. Oklahoma State will travel to Kansas, and we talked about this a couple times this week. KU has to face an angry Oklahoma State cowpoke team.
Yeah, I will admit I jumped off the Jayhawk bus. It was
that didn't take long.
A fun ride. We made it to about Salina, and then I got another ride.
Okay, all right. That game will be at 2:30 on Fox Sports 1, and then I can actually watch these games tomorrow because Texas will play at Kansas State at 6 o'clock. That game is also on Fox Sports 1. Texas, as we just talked about, coming in. And let's see. Then we heard from, I think it's pronounced Kadarius Toney, who was acquired from the Chiefs.
Yeah,
okay.
That's on you.
Well, yeah. It's Kadarius. Kadarius is what I'm going with, and if not, I will be corrected. And, you know, he wants to come down and kick my butt, he can, just because I mispronounced his name. But no, he is excited to join the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs are excited to have him aboard. What do you think he does for the offense?
I've been watching the baseballs and the high school football, so the Chiefs are kind of one. I'll watch them when they're on TV, but I don't usually deep dive, just because they're so good that until we get to the playoffs, we know they're going to get there.
Yeah, that's kind of true. And then we heard from the Houston Astros, the call last night on KVGB as Chaz McCormick of Houston stole a hit from JT Realmuto as the Astros won Game 5, 3-2, now lead the series 3-2. Game 6 will be tomorrow night on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Starting at 6 o'clock, and don't get me started on times for.
We were talking about. I was actually watching the game at 11 o'clock. Saw the catch, awesome catch. Then they hit Bryce Harper in the foot to keep him from batting in the bottom of the ninth.
How come they just didn't walk him?
Hurts more to hit him. In the foot.
Ooh,
but
okay.
I got to thinking, if that game started at 7 and it was a 3-2 game, how in the world did it make it 4 hours? I was listening to most of it, so I only caught the last couple innings.
Well, it's, as I say, the umpires and players, the players themselves have to decide they want to speed the game up because they all step out of the batter's box. And, you know, they have to, after Lorenzo Cain, love Lorenzo Cain, former Royal. After every pitch, he would step out and readjust his gloves. I was like, dude, you didn't swing.
Terry Pendleton didn't even use gloves.
It's like, what are you doing?
Well, let's talk about the real star of that game, the cranberry commercial.
Okay. Did you, Mr. Corson showed me and a young lady here at the traffic person at the radio station, the cranberry commercial. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so if you didn't see it, it's a very
there's a fly after
subdued lunch crowd until they bring in the jiggling cans of cranberries, and then things pick up.
Okay, this fly is bugging Corson all to death. So coming up on the show, Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. We appreciate all that they do for Sports Day. Get ahead with online or dual credit classes at Barton Community College. Earn a certificate or associate degree while in high school. Learn more at gobarton.com. Coming up on the show will be Chet Kuplan. We also have a Panther prowl with.
Got Matthew Moeder.
And then we also have the coaches from the Barton Community College soccer teams coming in. Coach OC will be in as the Barton Cougar women won, and the men ended their season. We'll talk with their coaches as well. That's all coming up on Sports Day. Final thoughts before we go to break, Mike Corson.
We had mentioned Tennessee, Georgia yesterday. I mean, I'll probably flip back and forth between KU and OSU, but I do like Hendon Hooker for Tennessee. Love those orange uniforms, and that's kind of going to determine a lot for the national title run, so that's also at 2:30, unfortunately.
Well, the only thing I can say about Tennessee is Rocky Top. Have you ever heard, I'm sure you've heard Rocky Top. They play the song over and over and over.
Yeah, at game day just a couple weeks ago, McAfee queued him up, and
Did he
boy,
really?
they know it. It's like a Pavlonian.
It is. They have fun. Okay, that's Sports Day, and we'll be right back with more after this. You're listening to 1590 KVGB AM, 95.5 FM. It is the talk of the town.
There is a tremendous demand for plumbers, and Barton Community College just made it faster and simpler to break into this high-wage career. In only one semester, master the skills needed to get started. Classes are held from 8 a.m. through noon, Monday through Friday, leaving afternoons open for a part-time job or apprenticeship. Sign up today and start your new career after just one semester of coursework. Visit gobarton.com to get started.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
I am Joanne Roth, the Democratic nominee for State Representative, the 113th District. Vote like democracy depends on it.
Paid for by Joanne Roth for State Representative, Kent Roth, Treasurer.
Scott Donovan here with Rye from Straub's Power Sports, 200 South Patton Road in Great Bend during our Shopping Over the Holidays $10,000 shopping spree. We invite you to come on in and get yourself qualified today. Use that special one-day only QR code that is set up here at Straub's. Rye, you guys got a good selection of not only new, but also some good used Polaris as well.
We've got several Sportsmans in stock, several Rangers, and a couple of Razors, and then we have a good selection of used machines here as well.
So what kind of rebates are folks getting these days?
There's some rebates on both the 22 model year stuff we have left over and some of the 23s. It's $500 on some things. It's $1,000 on others plus warranty. It's been a couple years since we've had a showroom full.
Winter service, that's also a big deal. You take care of a lot of folks.
That's right. We have winter service going on right now. Call and get yourself scheduled.
Okay, sounds good. Straub's Power Sports at 200 South Patton Road in Great Bend. Place to be today. Shopping over the holidays. $10,000 shopping spree from Moeder Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your Brian dealer, and Power Computers. Good luck.
Welcome back to Sports Day. I'm Mike Hesher. It is Friday afternoon. It is Regional High School Football Friday. And we're, as always on Friday, we're joined by Chet Kuplan from sportsinkansas.com. That's sportsinks.com. And Chet, last week was week 9 of the high school football season, and there were some lopsided scores. This week, it's regional action, and we can look for much closer scores.
We're in the round of 16, so if you're left this time of the year, you're a pretty good team, I feel like. Now, certain teams have better brackets than other teams, and we saw a lot of lopsided games last week. Will we see some lopsided games this week? We shall see. I think we'll see some, probably not as many as 1 week ago. In 6A, I have my eye on Olathe North versus Blue Valley West. Both teams, of course, in the Kansas City area. Blue Valley West out of the EKL, battle-tested. Olathe North, 1 loss this season, kind of a questionable loss to Free State. I have my eye on that. I also have my eye on Manhattan and Wichita East. Is Wichita East the real deal with Deontay Mitchell and their passing attack? They looked like it last week against Free State. They played Bishop Carroll close as well, within 4 points. Now blown away against Wichita Northwest early on, and Manhattan seems to be on paper so far. I know they beat Derby earlier this season, but I think they're probably the best team in 6A so far on paper. Now, I'm not counting Derby out. Probably on paper, they are the team that everybody is looking towards. I know they had to replace an offensive line this year. Of course, Dylan Edwards out of the backfield has been incredible. Maybe not production-wise where he was at last year, but you also have to realize they lost one of the best offensive lines in the state of Kansas from a year ago. Now, in 5A, there are some interesting matchups. You know, even Capon, and Mays is an interesting matchup, although I think Mays will be the heavy favorite on paper. I think Capon is much better than what their record shows. They've played some battle-tested games. Amari Elias, one of the best in the state. Avery Johnson is the best in the state, so some high-level players there in that matchup. Even locally, Great Bend and Salinas Central in 5A. I have my eye on that one, and I think certainly that can be a game that we need to keep our eye on. In Class 4A, you know, pretty good games overall. You know, Ark City McPherson, a lot of people on paper would favor McPherson, but I think you got to look at Ark City as well. I feel like they have improved. We saw what they did a couple years ago coming out of nowhere and playing in a state title game. I think that West is really wide open, to say the least, and where it's at. And then 3A, you know, I liked some of the games down in, you know, southeast Kansas, Girard-Frontenac rematch. You know, that could be a little bit better game than what it was earlier this season. I feel like Frontenac's improved, but Girard will be the favorite in that matchup for sure, even though a Frontenac team is much improved. But I think the best game in that class this week will be Wellsville, Topeka Hayden. Ground and pound team, up front big in Topeka Hayden, Joe Otting going to Notre Dame. And then, of course, you have Wellsville, who has Nash Money out of the backfield, a 1,000-yard rusher, and a 1,600-yard quarterback passing in Willie Dorsey in his first year as a starter. So all of a sudden, 2 different types of offenses playing each other, that game in Wellsville. So I have my eye on that. You know, the jury kind of still out on Wellsville if they are the real deal moving up from 2A to 3A, but I feel like they have some pretty good pieces. But many on paper may favor Topeka Hayden in a low-scoring matchup just based on kind of what they do in running the football and making it a shorter game. So we shall see. Down in Class 2A, you know, keep an eye on Nemaha Central, Rossville, although on paper Nemaha should be the heavy favorite, but Rossville, they've controlled a lot of what Class 2A football has been in recent memory. They have a 1-point loss to Silver Lake and lost by 31 to Holton. So also St. Mary's earlier on in the season. But I think that they've gotten a little bit better. But Nemaha Central right now is the best team in 2A football. So keep an eye on that. I think Osage City Humboldt will be a little bit better game than that game there. And then outside of that, I think St. Mary's and Troy has the making of one of the best games in the state this year. 2 passing attacks. Keller Hurla of St. Mary's and the Hartman kid out of Troy going head-to-head there. And, of course, some pretty good games across the 8-man ranks as well in Kansas, and we'll kind of see what happens there. But outstanding football nonetheless. 16 teams remain in each classification across the state of Kansas. Hoisington-Russell, another game in the area, of course, should be a good one as well. Russell, of course, first time since 1979 with a playoff win. So, you know, you look at some of these teams, some of them in familiar territory, some of them not. So sometimes you think are the lights too bright for some of these teams and their, you know, first ever playoff action in a long time to win a couple games and things like that. But it's awesome to see November football. You also got to realize, will weather be a factor across the state, whether that's wind, rain, whatever it is, snow in the past, whatever it could be. And that's why I said that the Holtons of the world and teams like that have always been so successful. You can run their offenses in a hurricane. It doesn't matter if you pass or not, just as long as you're not turning over the football. So definitely some big-time matchups across the state of Kansas, and I look forward to some of those across the state tonight.
Talking with Chet Kuplan from sportsinkansas.com. That's sportsinks.com. You kind of touched on some of the games that are important to the local area. That was Great Bend, Salina Central, Hoisington taking on Russell, and then Maxville taking on Rawlins County. What do you think of those games?
You know, Great Bend and Salina Central has the making to be a really good game in Class 5A, and an unexpected season really for Great Bend to many media members across the state. I mean, a team that didn't win a game the last 2 years, they've won 7 games in a row and have really figured out how to close out football games, beating Goddard Eisenhower by 4 the week before, beating Garden City by 7, 5 Ulysses the week before, and then, of course, an overtime win against Dodge City on the road earlier on in midseason. They lost to McPherson and Hayes, 2 teams that are in full force playoff mode that could make noise as well. But I feel like this Great Bend team, very good. Of course, the Council kid out at wide receiver, Schurman, of course, at quarterback, and really everything that they got going on. The Moeder kid has played big as well at the linebacker position. And I believe the running back Miller has 850 yards this year so far. So Coach Beck's team really improved. You look at Salina Central, led by Coach Sandbo. They were 7-2 on the season, lost early on to Eisenhower. Then Valley Center, a much improved team as well. So they don't have bad losses. They beat an Andover team last week by 6, Arc City the week before, 49-8. They can score a lot of points. Of course, the Gross kid at quarterback, he's been very good, but all eyes on their running back, McMillan. Very good player for this Salina Central squad. He has rushed for 1,267 yards, nearly 10 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns this season. Gross at the quarterback position, he's pretty accurate. Completes 67% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions all year. The Mowry kid at receiver, 594 yards and 8 touchdowns, as well as a big target there. So keep an eye there. Really, the defense is led by Hogan, who has 87 tackles this year for the Salina Central Mustang squad. But a very good team. And then, of course, you look at Hoisington, of course, locally here, taking on Russell. That is a huge matchup. And Russell in unfamiliar territory. This is a team that is so improved under Coach Ozores, of course, formerly out of Junction City, where he was an all-state player. I got to catch up with him and talk to him earlier on this year when I was on the Think Before You Post Power of Social Media Tour. Great guy, a young coach. And, of course, he's won 3 games in a row after dropping a game to Ellsworth, who's had a nice turnaround this season. They lost to Smith Center and Beloit as well. But you like where they're at. You know, on paper, Hoisington is going to be favored. This is in Hoisington. Coach Baird has been so impressive as a coach there. I feel like they play probably a little bit better schedule. You know, I like both of these leagues. I've talked about it. The MCL, very good. And maybe we can compare their schedules. I just feel like maybe the CKL might be just a little bit step ahead of that this year. I don't know if there's that clear-cut team this year in the MCL. Of course, you look at it, 3 one-loss teams, Norton, Russell, and Smith Center. There's not that breakaway Smith Center team, Phillipsburg team, or even Plainville team, or Norton, for that matter, team like there has been in the past. I feel like the league was very competitive this year outside of a couple of those teams, and maybe it's a surprise for some of those teams with the loss. But Russell, unfamiliar territory, shout out to them. First playoff victory since 1979 last week. But I feel like it's going to be Hoisington in this one moving on, and certainly will be interesting there. Of course, you know, in the 8-man ranks as well, we got to look at the Maxville team. The Kuckelman kid, 6'6", about 200 pounds as a quarterback. Very, very good athlete for that team. And, you know, they're in unfamiliar territory as well. And this is a team, you know, Maxville 9-0 on the season, the champion of their district, and maybe not those expectations coming into the year to be an unbeaten team, but they've been dominating teams. I mean, they've only allowed 6 points over their last 4 weeks. And outside of 2 games this year, you know, and we're talking 8-man football, only 2 teams have scored more than 2 touchdowns against them in the same game. So I don't think people probably necessarily saw 9-0 coming into the year with this team. They were 5-5 a year ago. Coach Bright's done a really nice job with this team, and, you know, a 3-win team 2 years ago. So, you know, I don't know if they had these expectations themselves. Maybe they did, but I know media members across the state certainly didn't. Now, is their schedule great overall? Probably not great overall.
not to say that Central Prairie League isn't pretty good, because it normally is, and they didn't have to play Victoria on their schedule this year either. So that may have factored into it a little bit. But traditionally, that league is a very good league. Of course, it has Victoria and Central Plains and some really good teams in that league. Now, Atwood-Rawlins County is their, of course, the matchup this week, 7-2. Their losses to Dighton, who's a very good team, and Hill City, who's a very good team. So this may be a little bit better game on paper than you may think. You know, they battled with Hoxie a little bit a few weeks ago. But I think Maxville moves on in this matchup, but I think it could be a little bit better game than many are thinking here in 8-man Division I, because a lot of times you just see a record and you automatically think that team. But, you know, Northwest Kansas League, you know, what do we know about it? Well, I feel like Dighton's pretty good out of that league. I feel like Sharon Springs, Wallace County isn't bad either. But some of the West in 8-man football, maybe not exactly where it's been in years past, and I think that's because maybe a drop-off with St. Francis a little bit, who has been in the driver's seat of 8-man for a while, is down this year, and different teams like that. So just never know in these playoff matchups, but shout out to Maxville for their 9-0 start so far this season.
Talking with Chet Kuplan from sportsinkansas.com. That's sportsinks.com. He is the sports guru. And earlier this week on Sports Day, Chet, we had a discussion about Avery Johnson. Our own Mike Corson thinks very highly of Mr. Avery Johnson, as you do, as we look at some of the other top players in the state.
Well, immediately when somebody asked me who is the best player that you've seen in the state, and I think that's Avery Johnson, having a National Player of the Year caliber season, out of Mays High School. 4-star quarterback, should be 5-star in my opinion. Going to Kansas State, just super athletic, gets it done with his legs, gets it done with his arm. And this is a kid, in my opinion, that could be an all-state wide receiver if he chose to play the position. He has just been incredible as the quarterback of that high school for the last 3 years. Makes everybody around him better. Of course, last year getting to a state title as state runner-up, and I feel like they're going to get back there this year. And not only get back there, they could potentially win it this year. Now, Mill Valley, they may have something to say about that, as they've been the standard. And then, of course, you look in Class 6A. You know, obviously Dylan Edwards is the highlighted player going to Notre Dame. He's had a great season. Has he had as good of a season as he did last year? Probably not, but that doesn't necessarily just fall on him. They have a brand-new offensive line from a year ago and a loaded offensive line. So look for him to really increase production over the course of the playoffs. Maliko Adis has had an outstanding year. His season is done, of course, now out of Shawnee Mission Northwest. He has been incredible. Trey Richardson out of Highland Park, his season's done as well. He's had an incredible year. Keller Hurla down in Class 1A, I think, has been awesome, as has Landon Boss in 2A out of Osage City. Cooper Hike out of Nemaha Central as well. You know, Andale, they don't have a lot of stars on this team because everybody's good, but I think guys like Riley Marks, of course, Braden Rubber, Jack Cross, guys like that have just been outstanding football players for their high school this year. So Braden Coons, you know, out of 1A Conway Springs, he's been incredible this year as well. I believe over 1,600 to 1,700 yards as well, and he's an All-American caliber rodeo performer as well across the state. So, you know, a lot of really, really good players in Kansas, and not just highlighted by some of those guys. It goes so much deeper across the state. Mac Armstrong out of Bishop Miege just had a big year as well. Too many to name and not enough time, but shout out to all those players for having some productive seasons so far in the state of Kansas. We do a top 11 team at the end of the year, powered by Mammoth Sports Construction and Watco at Sports in Kansas. We also do Players of the Year, and that's going to be very, very difficult to pick at the end of the year. Definitely these next few weeks will help us decide some of those final positions. Certainly there are a few players, a handful of players that you think probably have the opportunity to be there. Are really, really good players. And you can't leave out those lineman guys either. Of course, the BB kid out of Piper Otting, out of Topeka Hayden, Calvin Clements out of Free State are all guys that kind of jump off the page, as well as Grady Seifert out of Beloit High School. So many good players to pick from across the state of Kansas. Makes my job, and of course all the media members that vote on our teams, very, very interesting here in about a month whenever we pick those all-state teams, those Players of the Year, and top 11 teams at our event in Emporia. But, wow, what an outstanding year so far, and still a lot more to prove for a lot of these high school football athletes across the state.
As always, Chet, we thank you for your time. That's Chet Kuplan from sportsinkansas.com. They're at sportsinks.com, and we just enjoy your conversations each week, Chet, and we'll talk to you next week. We'll be right back with more from Sports Day after this. You're listening to 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Get the latest 5G devices at Next Tech Wireless. Now you can get the iPhone 14 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus on us, or up to $999 off any other device. And that's not all. You can also get half off a new Apple Watch when you bring your number to us. Next Tech Wireless. We are Kansas.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
This year is more important than ever.
Don't fall for liberals. They'll just drive us in the ditch.
Prices are too high for me and my family.
Democrats are putting criminals first.
A vote for anybody other than a Republican is a vote for Joe Biden's agenda.
Join me in voting Republican.
For our communities.
For our veterans. For safer streets.
I'm voting Republican.
Vota por los republicanos.
Vote Republican for a strong Kansas and a stronger America. I'm Ron Estes, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ron Estes for Congress.
Sutherland's in Great Bend invites you to stop by this Saturday, November 5th from 10 to 2 and join Kelly from 4 Legs Up Barbecue as he demonstrates how to use his new K4L drum smoker. Kelly will be smoking with his very own seasonings, and one of the best parts, when you purchase Kelly's barbecue seasonings today at Sutherland's, you'll get $1 off. Check out the demonstration and stock up on Kelly's barbecue seasonings. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
For the Chiefs, it's a great move. You're getting a first-round talent who now is going to be energized, and in an offense where with Mahomes, get him the ball, find a way to get open late, and then utilize that speed and athletic ability.
I think it starts with their star, Devontae Adams. That was their big offseason acquisition, be reunited with Derek Carr, his college teammate. And when he doesn't get the ball, they're going to struggle like they did today.
To me, that's coaching. Find him ways to get your quarterback comfortable.
ESPN Radio, nights and weekends, only on 1590 KBGB and 95.5 FM.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And welcome back to Sports Day on a Friday afternoon. I'm Mike Hesher, and we're now joined by a couple of Barton Community College coaches from the soccer program. But first of all, we'll tell you the Barton County women are in action. The basketball team is in action, and they're taking on NEO right now. That game started about 5 minutes ago. You can catch it on 104.3 The Point. Randy Gehring has the call for that game, and then the Barton men will follow about 3 o'clock. A busy day on 104.3 Point today. After these two games, we'll have the Great Bend Panther football team is in action. That game has been moved up to 6 o'clock for weather reasons, and Patrick Burnett will have the call on that one. Now, going to the soccer teams, we're joined by Rafael Simmons. He is the men's soccer coach and Coach OC, as everybody refers to you commonly as Coach OC. I think even your brother refers to you as Coach OC, doesn't he?
Yes.
I met him the other day out of one of the matches I went to. So we'll talk with Rafael Simmons first, as the Barton Community College team was beaten yesterday by Johnson County 1-0 in a golden goal. It was the second golden goal, and you told me earlier that means it's the second overtime period.
Yes.
And you still have an outside chance, but it had to be a tough loss yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I think we and the guys talked, and sometimes it's better to lose a game like 4-0, and you're being outmatched and beat up, and you're like, okay, the other team was better. For us, I think we dominated the game. We looked at the stats after. We had 25 shots. They had 6. We had 11 shots on goal, and we hit the post 4 times. They had, I think they had 2 shots on goal. One of them was in the first 15 minutes of the game, and the last one was the last kick of the game.
Seriously.
And they beat us. So that's what's frustrating for the guys. They're disappointed because they know they should have won and just couldn't get it done.
You had 4 shots on goal. Was the goalie just on fire yesterday?
Oh, the goalie was very good. The goalie did very well. And he was a big kid. He was like 6'3" and athletic, so he was able to get a lot of the saves. And then, to be fair to Johnson County, they did a really good job defending. They defended the box really well and kind of limited good opportunities. We had a lot of shots from outside and kind of shots that we weren't really kind of adjusted for. So,
as the Barton County men's soccer team did fall yesterday to 13th ranked Johnson County, the Barton men were ranked 11th in the nation. And now we're also joined by Coach O.C. He is the head coach of the Barton Community College women's soccer team, and they won in a shootout 4-1. They advanced into Saturday's championship match, and you played a long time yesterday, and goals were hard to come by.
Yes. The first time we played Coffeyville, we beat them 4-0. And then, any opponent or any team, they like to study the other team. So I believe that they study us a lot. And then defensively, they were doing very good. I give them credit. So in soccer, they call it park the bus. So basically, they were just defending, parking the bus. And then my two midfielder, we couldn't get the ball. So they play basically 4-1-3-2. So it was difficult for all midfielder to get the ball first half. So, like I said, I told the girls, I say, hey, listen, you ain't playing bad, you ain't playing good, but I think they study us,
Right.
And then I tried to change things a little bit. So I think it worked out a little bit second half. And then, but we couldn't score. That's why we ended up going overtime and then PKs.
Okay, and you won 4-1 in the penalty kicks. 4-1, that's quite advantage. And there is a fly in here. I apologize. It was bugging some people earlier. So 4-1, that's you. Your goalie must have done a pretty good job just to eliminate one goal for the opponent.
I mean, sometimes it happens. So that was her day. She was on a moment, so she was able to stop the first kick. I mean, because they kick it, she was ahead of the line, so we had to retake again, and then she blocked it again. So that was good. She was on the game. I give her credit. She's been with me since 2020, and then this is her last season, last semester, and that was huge for her.
And she is
Nia Baker from Wichita.
She's from Wichita. Okay, but she's going to be graduating.
Yes, in December.
Okay, so what do you do today? You have a day off between matches.
Yeah.
You guys play a lot. There's a lot of running involved. What do the young ladies do to recuperate?
I mean, like I said, today we have a day off, and then, just some won't do anything. Some probably will go in the gym, just maybe lift, do something, but we're not doing anything as a team for sure.
Okay, and you take on in a championship match, you take 4th-ranked Butler Community College. Have you played Butler before?
Yes, we have. We played them and lost 1-0 during conference time. It was a sad moment for the girl because we were really, really ready for that game. I won't blame anything on what happened, but I think it was a handball, and then we kind of stopped. We thought the ref was gonna make a call, but he didn't. So, and then they went and scored the goal. I mean, you can see the handball from the stadium, from the camera if you're watching the game, and it was just like, I don't know, it was.
And the referee didn't call the handball.
Didn't call it.
And your young ladies kind of just took a little bit of a break, and that was all it needed.
And then they went and scored. And then, like I said, it was a sad moment for the girl. I understand their frustration and stuff, but I think, like I said, we watched them plenty time. I think we're ready for Saturday.
So you're ready, so you think you have a good chance of winning tomorrow? Okay, all right,
100%.
Okay, also back to Rafael Simmons. You have an outside chance at an at-large bid. Tell us your possibilities there.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility for sure. I think our resume throughout the year has been very strong. If you look at our schedule and who we played, who we beat, and even who we lost to, I think we have eight wins over top 20 ranked teams. We were top 5 in the country for a while, and all of our 5 losses have come from top 20 teams in the country. So I think we have a good resume. The problem is that we have a very similar resume to Johnson County. They have a few more losses than us. So I think.
But they got the latest head-to-head on you, which is going to be the advantage.
Which is tough.
Right.
So I think if it's between Johnson County and Cowley, the final tomorrow, if Cowley wins, there's a possibility that Johnson could get an at-large bid, unless it's a high-scoring game and they lose 4-5-0, then that could change a little bit. If Johnson County wins, then we might have a chance as well. But there's other teams in the different parts of the country that are doing well and could have a claim for it. So it'll be really tough to see who gets it because there's the number 1 and the number 2 team in the country lost early in
Seriously?
playoffs.
Really?
So the two out of the 4 at-large bids already counted for. So that kind of made our lives a little more complicated.
Kind of like the NCAA basketball tournament. You don't want those higher seeds to lose because that hurts you.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. When will you find out?
They would meet, I believe they meet on Monday.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, they don't announce who gets the at-large bid. They just announce the whole bracket for nationals.
Okay.
So hopefully by Tuesday we'll have an idea.
So you can't meet. You can't meet as a team and watch a playoff or a TV show or anything. Like that?
They I believe they have a small production on Twitter that has a little short 5-minute video with the brackets and stuff. So.
And back to Coach OC as the Barton County women play tomorrow against Butler Community College. That game will be at 6 o'clock. And they're the 4th-ranked team in the nation, correct?
Yes.
So Butler County must be pretty good. But you said you almost beat them, or should have beat them, really.
I mean, yeah. Like I said, we had a chance, but it didn't happen. Sometimes it happened. It was their day. They were lucky. Probably they had the ref in their side, but I still trust my team. I think we can do something. We can do something for sure.
You think that's given your young ladies more motivation because they did lose and they know they're a better team?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, they are hungry right now. They're angry. They're hungry. They wanna beat Butler for sure, 100%.
So what happens if you lose? Do you have an at-large bid possibility as well?
I mean, like he said, also on the women's side, like number 2 lost. In the nation, Eastern Florida State, number 7 also lost. So, I mean, like I said, there's a few chances as well. We just have to hit and see.
Best way to do is to just go win.
Yes.
Just take everything out of possible.
That's what I told the girls. Let's just go and win, and that's it. So we don't have to worry about that.
You don't have to worry about anything. And now what about the national tournament? How does it play out on the women's side?
So same thing, there's 12. I mean, 8 team will go straight to, and then we're going to have 4 at last.
Oh, okay, I
so
see.
It's going to be the same thing, the same format.
Okay, and back to Coach Rafael Simmons. He is the head coach of the Barton Community College women's soccer team.
Men's.
See, I'm sorry. I did that when you walked in, didn't I?
I'll be the women's coach today because they won, so I'll take that one.
It's my assistant for
lost.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty good. You just made a little bit more money because you're an assistant coach today, right?
Free.
So
I get them Chipotle tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go.
Chipotle tomorrow. That's it.
Okay. So what? I mean. So recruiting, you possibly could be done. When do you start recruiting? Or I'm sure you're already recruiting.
Yeah, we've been looking already. We actually have 2 kids for the spring coming in that I think are both going to be potential starter for us. 2 international kids that is the recruiting process for the internationals, the Americans, is a little bit different because they go based off different timelines. The internationals are usually a little bit older, so they already finished school and they're ready to come over whenever, really. So we get a lot of them mid-year that come in. Obviously, the American kids have to finish school, and 90% of them will finish school around May. So we have to wait till August unless they take a year out. So we have actually a big class of freshmen coming back. I believe 22, 23 freshmen returning.
Oh, wow.
And from yesterday's game, what we played for the majority of the game, I think we had 6. We had 6 or 7 freshmen starting and playing most of the game yesterday. So
you're looking forward to next year, really?
Definitely, yeah.
And I mean, you want to finish out this year, hopefully, with another game, but you're looking forward to next year.
I think what I told some of the guys and some of the sophomores is that you just never know how the team is going to mesh together and work together and kind of blend in, that you could be excited and have a lot of players returning, but the kids that come in might not suit you or fit your program or work well together. So I think we had that this year where guys were working well together, getting along, playing well, and you just never know when you get it back. So you just hope to go as far as you can when you do have it. But we're excited about what we have coming back and what we can bring in and the future and how it's going to go.
That's Rafael Simmons. He's the head coach of the Barton men's soccer team. And Coach OC has been with us. He's the coach of the women's soccer team. They play tomorrow at 6 o'clock against top-seeded and 4th-ranked Butler Community College. We're just about out of time, gentlemen. Good luck, and I do appreciate you coming in on this Friday.
Thank you.
And just so you guys know, Coach OC is in shorts. So, I mean, it's like, come on, Coach, what's the deal?
I just love wearing shorts.
Okay, you just love showing.
Because I run, then I go inside the building, then I don't get out. You know?
Okay, that makes sense. And you're in the car. You weren't outside very long. Okay. Well, I'll let you slide with that one. Good luck tomorrow, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Coach OC and Rafael Simmons from the Barton soccer team. We'll be right back with the final segment of Sports Day after this. You're listening to 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Community College Athletic Director Trevor Rolfs. Barton Athletic Department is proud to sponsor Sports Day on KVG, a show that showcases all of our high school student athletes in Central Kansas, some whom will continue their educational and athletic future with us here at Barton. We're excited about the fall sports season that is now underway and invite you to attend a game or a match and experience the rich tradition of Cougar athletics. For complete schedules and results, visit bartonsports.com.
Write in Linda Maeder for Barton County Commission District Number 1. Linda wants to serve the people of Barton County. Linda finished a close second in the primary. The candidate on the general election ballot only received 1/3 of the vote. That means 2/3 of the people wanted a different choice. So Linda Maeder is running a write-in campaign to give the people of District 1 a choice. Check the other box and write in Linda Maeder for Barton County Commission District Number 1.
I'm Linda Maeder, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Linda Maeder for Barton County Commission District Number 1. Alan Hoffman, Treasurer.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined today by Great Bend High School senior Matthew Maeder, leading defensive player this year with 83 tackles on the year. So we'll talk about some defense. You're a senior, you're leading the team in tackles. What's it mean to be a defensive leader when you guys are kind of hot like this?
Obviously it's great because a lot of people know who you are, and that's great. But it comes with a little bit of responsibility. You got to make sure everybody gets in the right spots. You also have to make sure that the calls get good, the checks are all right. It puts a little more pressure on you to bow up and make sure everybody else bows up when teams are running the ball on us and we can't make stops. But it's just great because all the black shirts run by Coach Lett's defense. I love them. They're all my brothers. I love them to death, and it's awesome.
And the defense has been kind of funny. We go out to Dodge, and they were beating us up on the first half. Goddard Eisenhower was taking it to you guys last Friday. What has the adjustment been, or is it coming out of the gate slow?
I wouldn't say it's coming out of the gate slow. We know what we're supposed to do. We know what we got to do. And sometimes they don't do what we think we're going to do. So it takes a little bit to figure out what's going to work. And usually by the second half, Coach Lett and that whole defensive staff, they know exactly what to do. They know exactly how we're going to stop them. So usually we start settling in about mid-second quarter, especially when we know what they're going to do. And then second half, we just come out balls to the walls, heads on fire, and just playing our butts off.
In the Goddard Eisenhower game in particular, 27 points they put up in the first half, and it was actually kind of dominating 27 points. So was there any particular tricks to that particular game?
That game was a little funny because our defense was a little confusing to us, so we figured it might be a little confusing to them. But No, it's just like getting more guys in the box and just stopping the run, because the run is what was killing us. And we had a lot of guys protecting the secondary and not as many guys protecting the box. And then once they started exploding the box, we just put more in the box. And then we decided, hey, this is working, and they don't really want to throw it. And our secondary guys are just fine being by themselves, especially being a man down to help us up front. So it worked.
We had Caden Sharman in here yesterday. He said he'd had about 30 pounds of muscle. How big has been strength and conditioning, especially on the defensive side?
Oh, it's awesome. And it's huge too, because obviously defense, black shirt defense with Coach Lett, he says sprint to the ball, everybody get to the ball every play. And we're playing like 60, 70 plus plays on defense every time. So just sprinting all the time, it takes a toll on the body, but that's why summer conditioning was so important. That's why we all got to it. And he said the ones who will put in the most effort every time will play. And the guys on the field, the 11 on the field, the guys who will put the most effort. And that's why we've been successful.
Great Bend senior Matthew Moeder plays on the offensive line and is a linebacker, leading the team in tackles. Big game, obviously, tonight, Salina Central, so let's run down some of their kids. Junior quarterback Gunnar Gross, thrown for 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 850 on the ground with 19 scores. They got a running back, Kenyon McMillan, 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns. I think a big wideout with about 580 yards. What's it like to go into a team with maybe a potent offense and several weapons that can do it a variety of ways?
Well, obviously they're a great football team. I'm not going to take that away from them. But they got some weaknesses that we can exploit. And just like it can be a little intimidating going up against them. But like I said, Coach Lett always gets us prepared. And we know if we got something that they're exploiting on our defense, he's going to fix it right away. And I believe as long as we play as hard as we can, give as much effort like we've doing for the last 7 weeks, no matter how good the offense is, we'll be just fine.
Especially as a linebacker, is it just a big adjustment when it's not a run team or a pass team? It's a team like Salina that can do it both ways?
Yeah, it's a little bit like against Ulysses. Obviously, I wasn't dropping 15 yards to go cover the deep ball, but it's a little different. Like I got to be conscious of the receivers coming inside. Same with Matt Johnson. Both of us do a really good job. We've been doing a really good job at practice this week, and just reading our keys is especially important. Because especially with the spread offenses, like a lot of counter and a lot of that stuff is very prevalent. So as long as we make sure we read our keys and we read the mesh really good, we should be just fine.
So as a senior, you've seen the ugly years. You've been part of the 19-game losing streak. Now you're on the 7-game win streak, round 2 of the playoffs. How much more fun has it been this season?
Well, my mom doesn't like it because she always hates it when we come from behind because she just gets so nervous. And she always tells me after every game, why can't you just go ahead? Why can't you just beat them from the get-go? I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying my best. But obviously it's awesome because this is the first winning season like of the senior class's career. So it's awesome that's our senior year. And I love it that we've got our first playoff win since my freshman year. And it's just like it's I don't even know how to like describe it, especially because I've been part of that 19 game, and just to like hopefully redeem ourselves. It's great.
Great Bend heading to Salina Central tonight, 7 p.m. kick. Matthew, good luck.
Thank you very much.
More Sports Day after this.
Venture Corporation is now hiring for a CDL tanker operator driver. We'll operate the same truck all week. New higher wages with flexible hours, no weekends, and time and a half over 40 hours. Blue Cross and Blue Shield health insurance, vision insurance, Section 125 cafeteria plan, 401k retirement plan with match. Venture Corporation is an equal opportunity employer. Women and minorities encouraged. Apply in person at 214 South Highway 281 in Great Bend. Online at venturecorpks.com or call Leslie at Venture Corporation. Homegrown, family owned.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
We had a lady that was having some severe back and hip pain, and we worked with her for about 6 to 7 weeks, and we were able to actually restore greater than 80% of her mobility, and we were able to keep her from actually needing that surgery for about 4 years.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
I am Joanne Roth, the Democratic nominee for State Representative, the 113th District. Vote like democracy depends on it.
Paid for by Joanne Roth for State Representative, Kent Roth, Treasurer.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
We're just about out of time on your Friday afternoon. Don't forget that the Great Bend Panthers boys, the football team's game has been moved up to 6 o'clock. You can hear that on 104.3 The Point. And Hoisington is on 100.7. That game's scheduled for 7. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Sports Day.